I'm going to be covering essentially what is extremely necessary and the most played sort of modes and such. So if we quickly take a look over on the bottom here, you can see that I've got a 1.0 and reserve, or 1.3 and reserve sort of lineup already. And this is generally the vehicles ahead, that you see in the bottom there that you guys will be able to have almost straight off the bat. If you're a new player and you decide you're going to go with the British, and you select the British in that menu, that allows you to choose your starting nation, you will receive the A13 Mark 1 from the 3rd Royal Tank Regiment. It is an extremely mobile vehicle, and it boasts quite a significant punch in terms of firepower. Now, onto the standard tech tree. You've got some very interesting tanks available to you and some very iconic vehicles available to you too. You have the Archer, which is at 2.7. Oddballs recently did a video on it, and it is very, very dangerous, as he's proven. Then you've also got the Matilda, the Sherman, the Cromwell, and the Crusader tanks at the rank 2, or at rank 2 rather. And these tanks are immensely effective. And when played right, they definitely do the job. Moving on, rank 3, you've got the Sherman Firefly, the Challengers, the Comets, the Churchills. You've got the Avenger. You've got a couple of really, really cool, very unique AAs. And you've got the Concept 3 and the South African line. All of these guns, all of these vehicles, extremely effective at the battle ratings they're at. And even more so, well, they're actually effective up until, I'd say, even 6.0. So yeah, that just gives you an insight to how potent the British guns are, especially with the APCBC round that a lot of them have. So if we quickly take a look here and we take a look at this shell, this is the shell that I'm talking about. It's armor piercing capped ballistic capped shell. And the long and the short of what that means is that it doesn't ricochet nearly as much as the normal sort of, let's say, just APCBC or APC round. It does go through a lot more armor as well compared to the APC round, and it just really, really, even the AP round, the normal solid shot round, it does do a lot more than just your average rounds. Now, the one thing I will admit that is a slight or rather a slight downside to the British vehicles, especially from like 4.7 and on, is the fact that you are going to 9 times out of 10 either be facing Russian or German guns, and in which case they will most of the time go through your front plate unless you are angled. And that's something that a lot of British players that I see don't really do. They come across for example, a Russian heavy tank called the KV-85, and they face it head on, and whilst yes, the gun, if you can get your shot off first, will probably go through if you aim right. The odds are he's probably, because he's a lot heavier, he's a lot slower, he's a little bit more stable than what you are, he's probably going to get the shot off first, and then we see the Avengers or the Sherman Fireflies die. And that is unfortunately the reality of the situation, and that is a problem that basically plagues a lot of the British tanks, except for maybe up until I'd say the Centurion 3. So yeah, take that into consideration when you do play. There is that downside that you are very mobile, you are very good with you do have a very good gun rather, but you aren't as armored as the rest of your opponents. Let's quickly move on to the aviation aspect of this. Now, straight off the bat, I'm pretty sure you can see it is extremely repetitive. There are doubles of a lot of things that are really unnecessary, and I really do hope that Gaijin does come back and maybe revisit a lot of the tech trees that have this problem, because it's not just the British tech tree, it's a lot of the major nations, even some of the minor nations, where they've got repetitive tech trees, and it really doesn't add to the gameplay too much, other than just allowing you to get multiple of the same sort of aircraft. And I feel that that is perhaps just my opinion, but I feel that's the general sentiment, especially among the British players. So as you can also see, there are a lot of iconic aircraft here. You've got the Swordfish, you've got the Nimrods, the Gladiators, you've got the Spitfires, the Hurricanes, you've got the Wellington bomber, you've got the Halifax bomber, Stirling, Lancaster. All of these are really, really iconic aircraft. Even the Typhoons and Tempests. So yeah, you can't really go wrong with this one. There's a lot of very unique things available to you. And even so, on the British premium aviation side of things, there are some very, very effective and very, very potent and just unique aircraft in general. You've got the Thunderbolt, you've got the Mustang, the MB5, the Wyvern S4, extremely effective, the Avenger, the Boomerang. A lot of them are very, 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 very capable aircraft. Now moving on to the helis, this is something that new players will only come to much, much later on in their War Thunder career, if they even get that far. But, you know, let's just hope. So I haven't played, as you can see, I haven't really played the helicopter line that much, but from what I've seen, the British helicopters are extremely effective and are probably some of the more maneuverable helis in game. They are able to quickly get up and quickly move around the battlefield without much of a hassle. Maybe the Wasp is a slight exception, but you get the idea. Moving quickly on to the Blue Water Fleet. This is not Naval is not an aspect that is a main feature, unfortunately, of War Thunder. It's not played often, but when it does happen, it is very, very fun. Can be a little bit frustrating when you get torpedoed from someone because you don't see the torpedoes necessarily because you're so focused on the task ahead of you. But aside from that, it is still quite a bit of fun, and you get to replay some very interesting scenarios from history where you might come across, say, a German destroyer and you're a little boat and you suddenly blow him up, you know. So there's a lot of very interesting scenarios that do come up, and it is very, very interesting and a lot of fun when it's played right and when it's played with enough, you know, sort of practice. But that is basically it for today. There are going to be some very new vehicles that will be coming to the British tech tree in the near future, such as the G6 Rhino and the HMS Hood. I don't know of any others, but if you guys do know of any others that will be coming to War Thunder, please let me know down in the comment section below. And I hope that you guys find this very informative, and I hope you guys find this somewhat useful, both and old and new players alike. And yeah, guys, go safe, take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.